People find you absolutely fascinating, and that triggers your haters. That triggers jealous people. Have you ever been in a conversation where somebody was asking you something about what you're doing, what you're accomplishing? Maybe they're just interested in the things that you do. And as you were explaining those things, you look over to the side and you see that monitoring spirit, that person who's just looking at you with the skunk eye, all because you're explaining to someone what you do and how you operate and the things that you like. See, when people find you fascinating, when people take a genuine interest in you, you will always have some jealous woman sitting in the corner looking at you as if you are doing too much. Keep your intrigue. Being a woman of intrigue inspires other people to want to know more about you. And that is absolutely fascinating and great for a woman. It's not okay, in my opinion, to be boring. And when I say boring, I don't mean like you need to be going skydiving, you need to be doing all these things that put yourself in harm's way. But as a woman, you should have things that you are genuinely interested in and things that make you different than other women. And when you are that type of woman who's doing something outside of the status quo, you're doing something different than what everybody else is doing, you have to expect that people are going to find you interesting. And on the side of that, other people are going to find you absolutely annoying. They're going to be so triggered by the fact that you are a fascinating woman, that you are a woman of intrigue, that they will try to disrupt and interrupt the interactions that you have with other people. I remember having a situation where I was talking to a male coworker and I was telling him about what I do. And some woman on the side, I don't know who she is, I work for a big company, but I just looked over and she was just staring at me in this very odd way, as if she was repulsed by what I was saying. And I was simply explaining to him what I do as far as YouTube, as far as books, those kind of things. It wasn't bragging on myself. He asked, so I told him, and he found it absolutely fascinating. And I'm not saying this to brag on me, but I'm saying this to make the point that when you're a woman that, number one, you move mysteriously, and that what makes you a woman of intrigue. When you don't always tell people what you're doing and somehow they find out what you're doing and you begin to explain, that's exciting for another person, and that's exciting for you as well. It's better for someone to ask you what you're doing and then be surprised by what you do, rather than always having to prop yourself up in some way and then show yourself to not be doing that much. See, women who have that fake sense of authority, they tend to always prop themselves up, brag on themselves, because people don't take a genuine interest in the things they do and or say. But when you are the type of woman who actually has things going on and you quietly do those things and you just let the work show itself, that's when people take an interest in you. And in that interest that other people take in you, you will absolutely attract haters. And this is what you cannot do, because some women, women of intrigue, women who are fascinating, what you will tend to do, you will become discouraged by the stares, the looks, the side conversations of jealous people, and stop doing you. And as a woman who is confident and leveled up, you cannot allow the snickers, conversations, and the little things that people say or how they look to stop you from being proud of the things that you do and the woman that you are. It is absolutely a wonderful thing to be a woman of intrigue, to be a woman of mystery, because you leave so many layers of yourself untouched that when other people get to know you, they don't even realize that it was just more to you than what they saw right in front of them. It's because you know how to leave something to mystery. And that's what a lot of women today, unfortunately, they do not know how to do. They feel like they have to put everything out on Front Street, as they say, in order to grab the attention of other people. But a woman of mystery, a woman of intrigue, she will actually attract people to her. And in doing that, they will want to know more about you. And it's not that you're even seeking that attention. That's just how you move, which will further irritate and trigger jealousy and envy in other people. And by no means am I saying that you're doing this to provoke people to jealousy, but being yourself, and especially if you're a mysterious woman, more of a private woman, you just operate that way, you will absolutely attract haters and jealous people, all because you don't put it all out there. Women truly have to master the art, in my opinion, of true class, decorum, and mystery. Being a woman of mystery is something that makes you more exciting and makes you stand out from the pack. If you are the type of woman who's quiet, and I'm not saying you have to be quiet, but a lot of times when you are a woman of mystery, you don't talk that much. You do more observing than you do talking. You do a lot more learning and listening than trying to just say whatever pops into your head. And when you operate that way, you have to expect that some women will think that you're conceited, you're bougie, you think you're better, all these different things simply because you have a teachable spirit. Simply because you're the type of woman who likes to absorb information so that you can use that information to benefit yourself. See, being a woman of mystery is not just about this mystique. It's not about a feminine mystique. It's actually about being the type of woman who grasps the things around her that are going to be beneficial to her to elevate herself and those around her. But if you're always talking, if you're always speaking, if you're the kind of woman who just says whatever pops into her head, you are going to make yourself look like a fool in front of other people. And that is not the perception that confident, feminine, wise women want to give. So when you operate more mysteriously, people will find you fascinating. And that's why I always say, as women, you need to have some kind of hobbies or something that you're working toward, something that you're working on. It doesn't have to be a big goal. It doesn't have to be you trying to take over a company. It doesn't have to be you trying to start a business, but you should be doing something that is taking you to the next level, be it spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. You should be working on something. And I say that not just for your benefit, but you want to be able to, and a little bit of a sidebar, people, this whole conversation about what do women bring to the table, when you are a feminine woman, your presence, your essence, and the way you operate, that's what you bring to the table. When you are uniquely you and you're doing things that make you different, when you're doing things that don't make you codependent, because that's another thing that a lot of women suffer from. And this is the reason why some women get jealous of women that have their own things going on. And it's because they are so codependent on other people. Some women have made men their entire identity. And even if you're a married woman, your husband should not be your entire identity. You should have things going on for yourself aside from your husband. He is a part of your life, but he is not your identity. And when you have yourself wrapped up in other people, not just a spouse, but if your whole identity is what you do for a living. And some women who are jealous of other women, oftentimes, it's because they see women who are not always so wrapped up by what they do for a living, by what they have, by who they have, but they have hobbies and things they actually enjoy, which actually makes you even more fascinating. I'm so surprised at how many people, when I talk to them about me doing YouTube, they actually find it fascinating. And for me, I'm like, YouTube's been around for at least 20 years, 25 years now. I'm not the only one to do this, but it's something about somebody like me. It's like they never would have thought. And once again, I'm not saying that to prop myself up. I'm saying that as an example of when you do things differently than what people expect you to do, that makes you fascinating, and it also attracts haters. You're not trying to attract haters, but you will anytime you're a woman who's trying to do things that are bettering herself. And once again, it doesn't have to be a business. It can be something as you going to, yoga, not yoga, I don't really like yoga, but Zumba classes or aerobics, or you're a boxer. You're a feminine woman, but you do boxing. That's unique. You are a creator in some way. As women, we have so many creative abilities. I believe that's just the nature God gave us as women, to be creative and to operate in that softer side of ourselves. And in doing that, we find our uniqueness. And when you're doing something different than the bunch, you have to expect that they're going to be jealous, give you the skunk eye, give you their attitudes. In the beginning, when you're a woman who is leaning into her softer side, once you start doing that, what you'll see is that certain types of women will be repelled by you. Women who are more masculine in nature and want you to be masculine too, and you're not giving them that, they will be repulsed by you. Women who always want to fuss and fight and argue and want everything to be hard, they're going to take an issue with you actually talking about the positive things that you're doing, especially when it brings attention to yourself. And I want to stay on that for a moment. I understand, and a lot of us, especially if you're, spiritual, you're a believer, we're not really supposed to prop ourselves up, constantly brag on ourselves, but there's nothing wrong, and this is the way I believe, in telling people about what God is doing in your life and how you're operating and, the things you're able to accomplish, and just talking about, especially when somebody asks, don't just sit around talking about yourself. That's not what I'm talking about, not in a narcissistic kind of way. People throw that word out a lot, but I'm not talking about just bragging on yourself in a narcissistic way. I'm talking about, as women, we have to get comfortable when asked, what do you do? Or what do you like to do? Or, oh, I heard you were doing this. And you start explaining and actually excited about the things you're doing. When I talk about this YouTube channel, I'm actually excited about it. When I talk about my other business endeavors, the books that I'm an author, I've been writing books for the past 8 years. And only recently have I started referring to myself as an author. And you know why? It's because I was kind of put off by the looks I would get from people, certain people. When I referred to myself as an author, as a business owner, they would give me those looks like whatever. And because of that, for a very long time, I let it stop me. I actually let it dim my light. I let it stop me from being proud in a healthy way of the things that I was able to do by the grace of God. And that's one thing we don't want to do. Ladies, as I have said in previous videos, if you're going to be a woman who's going outside the box and doing things differently than what other women, other people are doing, you are going to attract haters. And that's just the way it is. And you cannot dim your light or, shrink down in order to make other people feel comfortable. And from a business perspective and from a financially leveling up perspective, we can't afford to do that. And that's another thing that snapped me right out of that, shrinking down and not really wanting to talk about what I do. Because once I realized that you don't really get the blessing or the goal or the thing you're trying to accomplish if you're always quiet and shrinking yourself back. It's like they have this saying in the world, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. It's like you have not because you ask not, same kind of alignment. If you are always shrinking yourself down and so afraid to be seen and not talking about what you're doing out of fear of other people's looks and what they're going to say, then you will never accomplish anything. I would not be, and I don't want to say this in the wrong way because by no stretch of the imagination am I exactly where I want to be, but I would not be as far as I have come right now if I continue to allow myself to shrink down because I was discouraged by the dirty looks, side conversations of jealous people who didn't want to see me accomplish certain things. If I allowed their little attitudes and moods to stop me, I would not be on YouTube right now. So as women, I just give you that sidebar to encourage you that it's okay to be seen. It's okay to tell people what you're doing. If you're in business, you have to talk about your business to an extent. Otherwise, you're not going to make money. You're not going to make sales. And people who want to hold you back, and I'm going to touch on this for a minute because a lot of people, when it comes to money, that's one of the things that a lot of women, they get jealous of other women the most because they see them thriving financially. And it's not always about looks. It's not always about buying stylish luxury brand items. If you have enough money to do whatever you want to do and do it comfortably, people will be jealous of that. And people will try to get you to believe that just because you're not wasting your money on luxury items and spending it recklessly and wastefully, that somehow, oh, you're capping. That's the thing the kids say, cap, saying you're lying. You have nothing to prove. So ladies, just know when you become a more mysterious, leveled up woman, you're going to have all kind of naysayers trying to say what you're not doing, what you should be doing. You're lying, you're faking. None of that stuff matters. Women of intrigue, women of mystery, we like to keep people guessing. We like to keep people on their toes. We don't want to put everything all out there. Being an open book, and it took me many years to realize this, being an open book is not wise. It's not one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm one way a different time and then I'm a different way, but you don't want to put everything out there because as I've said before, a lot of people, they do not have your well-being in mind. And when people are jealous and envious of you, being an open book, you can absolutely give them the ammunition that they're seeking to use against you. It's better for people to kind of assume what they want than for you to tell them everything and give them ammunition to use against you. But as women of intrigue, as you depend on as you continue to level up and do the things that you want to do, people are going to find you more fascinating, and that's going to attract haters. That's going to attract people that's going to look at you as if you have no business talking about your business. You have no business, having a conversation telling people about what you do. That's their problem. Don't stop talking. Don't stop doing the things that you do. And by no means do you allow someone to stop you from being that fabulous, fascinating woman. Being boring helps no one. If you're a woman and you're in a circle of people where they don't do anything except for sit around and just watch TV, nothing wrong with that. Everybody doesn't have all these extravagant things or hobbies and stuff that they're doing. But the issue comes in when people who don't do those things try to make life hard for people who do. And that's another thing you'll run into. When you are a fascinating woman, a mysterious woman, a woman who is doing things outside of the box, you may encounter people who are going to deliberately try to make life hard for you. They might be triggered by the fact that things appear to be going a little bit too smooth for you. I have experienced that in my life recently, where everything's going great at the job. People are appreciative of me. They're saying different things. And there's always that one person, that one coworker who's trying to sabotage you in some way. They're trying to get at you in some way. And it's all because other people are appreciating you. They find you fascinating. They appreciate what you do. They appreciate who you are. And swoops, here goes the hater, trying to make things harder than what it has to be. It just comes with the territory. But being aware of those things is going to help you to confidently navigate life while you level up amongst your haters. So ladies, do not allow people to cause you to shrink back. Talk about the things that you do. Be confident. I'm not saying being narcissistic about it, because I can hear somebody now saying, oh, narcissist, you just want to talk about yourself. You think you're this, you think you're that. This is not about what you think. It's about how other people perceive you. And sometimes, no matter how much you carry yourself as a classy, wise woman trying to keep the peace, there are some people who just do not want peace with you, all because they are jealous and intimidated by the fact that people find you fascinating. Keep doing you and don't let anybody dim your light. All right? Like and subscribe to the channel and share this content. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. If you watch this video until the very end, put the high heel emoji in the comment section. I absolutely love to see it. Take care.